Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, February 1st, 2021, 7 p.m. Hydrich.
Here.
Holtmeyer.
Here.
Overmark.
Here.
Patke.
Here.
Pettit.
Aye.
Scornia.
Here.
Solentrep.
Here.
Wessels.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated January 19th, 2021? Hydrich.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Overmark.
Aye.
Patke.
Yes.
Pettit.
Aye.
Scornia.
Yes.
Solentrep.
Yes.
Wessels.
Yes.
Having read the minutes, are there any comments or questions?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Hydrich, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated January 19, 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have a 2017 landfill tickets destruction request and Flynn drilling pay request, well number 7, installation of new 75 HP motor control panel.
Okay, any questions about these items?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Hydrich, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Priority items, mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Proclamation, Black History Month.
So tonight, we have a proclamation recognizing Black History Month as February. February is Black History Month. So we do have some other folks in the audience with us tonight, if you all want to come up and be part of the proclamation, part of receiving it. So just to give you a little background, to give a little background on what we're doing, I guess, or whatever. If you remember that we have forming a community relations board, and we've had two meetings so far. Our meetings have been virtual. We're hoping that at some point we'll be able to be meeting in person. So we've got a good group assembled. And at the same time, when we were discussing the Community Relations Board, it came to our attention that the Historical Society was working on the city cemetery, which is located off of Pottery Road near the KC Hall grounds. And unbeknownst to, and I was one of them, I really wasn't aware of our city cemetery and didn't really know we had one, but the more we learned about it, we became intrigued, and our historical preservation committee, because of the history of this cemetery, chose to donate some of their funding that was allotted to them this year towards getting a monument made, to do a city sign, to make some type of monument to recognize the city cemetery as something that the city owns. We have mowed it for many years, but we haven't done a lot beyond that, really. So Mark Hausman and Paul Annabelle were instrumental in getting us to be involved with the city cemetery, and that was our next step, and take that on as a project. So we have raised some funds, of course, through the Historical Preservation Society, our Preservation Commission, and we have ordered a monument to put a sign there. We felt like we should recognize it. And as is going these days with COVID, the granite has not yet arrived. We ordered it back in September, and it's still not here. So we wanted to have a christening of our monument on this day as well, but that just didn't happen because of the granite is not being very timely for us right now. So as soon as that arrives, we will be doing a dedication. There also will be a brief history of the city cemetery. It opened in 1882, and the first a long time ago. Anyway, and the first cemetery, the first recorded burial was 1899. And the significance of the city cemetery to Black History Month is because during that era, our African American population was not allowed to be buried in any of the other cemeteries in our community. And so that was the final resting place for many of our early African American population. So we have, as a matter of fact, Rick, I don't mean to call you, but your grandfather and your mother are both at the city cemetery. And so through the years, it's been the final resting place. Also, there's a brief history. It's so fascinating. Next door to the city cemetery was what they called the pest house, which was short for pestilence. And it was the, I guess, the forerunner to hospice. If you were very sick with some communicable disease, you were moved to the pest house, and then when you passed, you were buried in the city cemetery. So if you see an aerial view of that area out there, you can still see the foundation marks of where that cemetery, that building was. So we've learned a lot about it. It was the Historical Society who did all the uncovering of the information and things like that. So we have members of our cemetery committee here, Steve, Rick, Mark, Paul, are the cemetery committee folks, and then the rest of the folks here are members of our community relations board. Steve again, Mark, Hank, Alexandria is here with us tonight, which is nice. Gavin, you're our park board, but you and Annette have made a contribution towards the cemetery. Rick, Mrs. Smith, yes, Neighbors United, and Justin. Oh, Justin, I don't recognize you with that. And of course, Amy Appel is she's our fearless leader of the Community Relations Board. So this is a mixture of people, but it's a great story, and we'd like to celebrate Black History Month. So anyway, did I say enough? I think I got it, right? Okay. Okay. So tonight we have a mayor's proclamation from the city of Washington, Missouri. Black History Month. Whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas during the month of February, our nation takes pause to reflect on the injustices and struggles fought and overcome by African Americans throughout our nation's history, and to pay tribute to the battles they have fought in the name of equality. And whereas the City of Washington continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, our state, our country, and our world. And whereas the City of Washington is proud to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community throughout our state and nation. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Sandy Lucy, Mayor of the City of Washington, do hereby proclaim the month of February as Black History Month in the City of Washington, Missouri, and ask our fellow citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue our efforts to create a world that is more just, peaceful, and prosperous for all. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the City of Washington, Missouri, this first day of February 2021. Signed, Sandy Lucy, Mayor. So.
Thank you, Mayor Lucy. very much. I'm Amy Appel. I'm speaking as the chairperson of the newly formed Community Relations Board, and also as the chairperson of Neighbors United Undoing Racism here in Franklin County. And I'm really so thrilled to have this proclamation this month. Black History Month is not a concession. I think many of us think of it as, let's have a concession to the history of African Americans. It's a commitment by all of us to recognize that Black history is American history. And it's well been said that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And if we do not learn our entire history as Americans, we may be doomed to repeat it. And so we want to learn all of our history, the history of all of those who have been part of this great country. And so I'm very glad to receive this. I want to encourage people to go to the library. I have a vested interest. My husband is the director at the library. So he tells me that people at the library are very happy to help you find books about Black history and novels, if you prefer novels that are written by Black Americans, he can help you find those. And of course, Dawn over at Neighborhood Reads is also very happy to help people find books that pertain to Black History Month. And Neighbors United on February 21st will be holding a Black History Trivia Night online. It won't be quite like the crazy Missouri Trivia Night, St. Louis area Trivia Nights that I'm used to. It'll be online, but it'll be a lot of fun and an opportunity to learn more about Black history and to get some of that knowledge to your kids, because I think it'll be kid-friendly. So find us on Facebook if you'd like to join us for that. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Stevie knows it.
Police Department appointment.
Okay, hold on. We have an appointment tonight as a reserve officer. Renee Pat Morin. Pat just recently retired after a long career with the city of Washington. 19 years?
No, 20,
20?
25 total in police work.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, and so he'd like to come back as a reserve officer, and so we're appointing him this evening. So, Chief, do you want to say something?
sure, incredible counsel.
He doesn't want money.
So Pat,
You asking for money?
no.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you're gonna do that.
So Pat retired from here January 4th after a long service as a police officer, most of his time here in our community. But he decided he just couldn't exactly just get rid of it all and dump it all and walk away from it. So he would like to be in a reserve program. And I request that you appoint him as a reserve. He'll be back with us to help us for the fair and other events once we get back to events and where we need him. So I have highly recommend him. I mean, he was an officer here for a long time. So that's a recommendation in of itself.
Will you do any shift work, like replacement?
I don't know that he wants to, but if we absolutely need to, we'll ask him.
Okay.
I mean, he could go out in a car now and do shift work if we.
There's
yeah,
no
had the
other
need.
training he would need.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Hydrich, to approve the reappointment of Reserve Officer Renee Patrick Morin. This will be for a one-year appointment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the appointment. Thank you.
His mother was French, there why you get Renee, so. Thank you, council.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Citizens' comments?
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda? Okay, do you want to come forward, please? Come to the microphone and give us your name and your address so we can have it for the records.
My name is Josh Hannikin. I live at 6455 Bluff Road. I've lived out a couple of years now and basically lived alongside basically my whole life. I got concerns of what's going on with the city landfill out there and how much debris the landfill is bringing outside whenever they leave. Pretty much every winter for the past couple of years, it's a nonstop battle of us figuring out what kind of debris is on the road, watching our neighbor's pond get brown after a rain, and seeing what kind of different things is going on with coming out of that landfill. I know people said that I've been in talks with Tony. He said that it's agricultural. And after tonight, I went down there. The road was completely clean this weekend with the rain. After tonight, I went home, drove down, and you can see a brown lane all the way down to the city landfill. We've been in talks with many different people. We cannot get any answers of what's going to be done to help resolve this issue. Like I said, we got many concerns of going down there. I've been down there before, drove down there, you drive over everything, all the contaminants get on your vehicle, and out you come on the road. So as we're out there, this is all affecting anybody that goes to see their grandparents, parents, great-grandparents. You know, if their vehicle's bringing this stuff up to their house, you know, what is going on? They've been running a street sweeper. It just makes a dust cloud on the dry days. On wet days, it just smears it across the road. I got multiple pictures and stuff to where you can't see the white lines, can't see the yellow lines in the middle. It's a complete hazard to anybody and everybody driving. We're just trying to see we've talked to a couple different people, and we're not getting answers. I got messages and stuff going back to the beginning of December, and that's just this year alone. Other people have been contacted before then. We had Franklin County out there because that's who we're told. You got to call Franklin County out there. It's not the city's property. Well, it's coming from the city. And we're just trying to figure out how long is this going to go on, and why do we got to keep having the concerns?
Can you share them pictures with us?
Yes, sir.
I'll pass them.
Just 2 weeks ago, it was so bad that Franklin County was out there spreading cinders on the road just because the muck and whatnot on the road. It was actually causing iced up issues, just the amount of stuff that was on the road. And they had them spread down thick. It sounded like you drove on a rock road going down Bluff Road. It was that bad.
So they spread cinders to help the situation of the slickness on the road, is that right?
Yeah, because there was so much dirt and debris and mud. It caused it to freeze up so much easier, or freeze up so much quicker.
At our last meeting, we discussed that they had cinders on the road, and then our street sweeper went out there to clean up the mud and picked up the cinders off the road, so therefore the county had to go back out there and do it, or didn't do it, so the city had to do that. So that's a different story if we're putting cinders over top of the mud. That's different.
Yeah,
I think it was,
sorry, go ahead.
well, go ahead. What, was it,
Franklin County was that, when was that?
wasn't there a? Okay, you need to come to the podium and give us your name and
My name's
address.
Steve Hennigan. I live on 208 Brinker Trail. I had called the county out there, and they came out there, and I went down to talk to them. And I guess the guy that's in charge of that dump out there, he happened to be there. Then I was talking to him, and he said, little Jimmy put the mud on the road, which is a lie. I'm sure he put some there, but he didn't put all of it there. And it's just a hassle out there. What would you do if Main Street was like that all the time? I mean, would you guys like it? Then we don't like it out there neither. Hell, we got to wash our cars once, twice a week. The next time it rains, muddy, well, we got to go wash it again. I mean, this is went on way too far along.
I heard you say when you just started, and I'm not debating you, but you said it happens every winter. Is it just because it's more damp in the winter, or is it just because?
It's been going on 2.5, 3 years now. It's every year it gets worse and worse and worse.
Okay.
And it can rain during the summer. It's mud. The freezing and thawing, it's mud. You got rock down to it, but once the rock stops, they got to back up there 20, 30, 40 yards to dump. And you got these trash trucks with these duals on. They come out, well, they pick up momentum. So sorry about that. They pick up momentum going up down that hill,
Throw it
and
off.
all this mud comes out of the duals.
I get that.
I mean, you guys need to do something about this. Because when it was first went out there, the city of Washington said, you'll never know that we were out there.
That you out there.
What was true for a lot of years. These past 3, 4 years now, it's a damn nightmare out there.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys can't do nothing about it, shut it down.
Do you know what they did in the years past to stop that problem?
No, I have no idea, Steve. Talk to Jack Brinker.
Yeah. He kept it clean.
Never had a problem.
And then, I guess that's what's difficult for me is that the landfill's been there for a lot of years. Is this just been an issue in the last 2,
I'd
3
say
years?
the past 3 to
It
4
hasn't-
years. Wouldn't you say, Gene? Yeah.
So I guess that's what I have to put my finger on is what has changed in the last 3 years that we're. that
Maybe
all of
it's
a
the
sudden
person's
happening.
running it. I don't know. I have no idea.
I would imagine they had a lot more rock or something down there because I've been down there a couple times. And if it's somewhat muddy, there's no way you can't really hardly get out of a four-wheel drive truck if you got a trailer on there. It's a slick mess. So obviously you're just carrying it up. You can watch the vehicles drive by.
Do you think if they was to go to Bluff Road and have to back up to the weights to clear their tires before they left, would that help?
I wouldn't think so because like them dumpsters and them trash trucks with duals, I don't think they're going to pick up that enough momentum. Is what happens as soon as they crest that hill and they go down that long hill, well, they're picking up a lot of momentum to make it up the next hill.
Darren, do we have any of those, I don't know the proper name for them, but I see them on job sites where there's shakers.
Yeah.
And they're driving across them and that helps loosen everything up.
John and I have talked about that as a possible solution.
Well,
Yeah, we have a, so we have two we're gathering information for 2 different styles. One's a, my gosh, I can't think of the name of what it's called, but it's basically a shaker mat. You're driving over essentially,
Right.
it's like a 4-inch stone, but it's not. It's made out of poly material.
Right.
The other one would be as you put in what's called, cattle grates, basically, as you leave. So you dig a vault out, you pour concrete in, you put a cattle grate in as you leave. That'd be another way to take care of it. The other way to take care of it is just, literally add more rock, make sure that it's rock, you're not getting in the mud. I mean, mud is a product of driving in the mud. So just make sure that we're taking care of all those things as well. I will say we do document, every single complaint that we would get. So a couple weeks ago, when Franklin County was out there, that was definitely done by the ag operation adjacent to the landfill, took the material onto Bluff Road, just like I described at the last council meeting. The cinders were down prior to, the mud got on the road. We thought it was part of what our operation was. We got a street sweeper out there. Franklin County told us to stop because we picked up their cinders, and it became kind of this kind of mess. So since then, we told Franklin County that we were not to be sweeping Bluff Road unless we ran it by them because it is their highway. So, it is a combination of 2 things. We'll look at doing the cattle grates and other ways, add more rock, those type of things. So,
Think we could contact some other landfills and see if they're having the same type
yeah,
of problem? See
I've
what
done
they're
that.
doing?
Well, why don't you get a pump truck out there?
So
Hose them off when they come out of there.
I'm very familiar with wash bays, those type of things. We could look at, we could look at all these things. You could, you dig basically a pit next to it, have a guy with the power washer hosing off all the tires before they come out.
Didn't they used to use mulch on the road out there to keep the mud and debris
Not
down?
familiar with that.
They
I
used to
could
keep
look
mulch.
I know the last
From
time.
like
I
where you're
was out-
saying, where you turn off with a rock, I was just out there the other weekend, and like Josh said, you got 30 yards to the pile. I thought they used to always line that with mulch from the land, or from.
I could ask.
From the
I'd have to
compost.
ask. I don't know that sitting here. But yeah, no, I mean, mud is obviously generated from driving off into soft surface. It's not like it magically shows up. So there is a combination of two things. I mean, we have personnel that live on Bluff Road. They took photos this morning of ag operations, again, bringing mud on the highway adjacent to the landfill as well. Wasn't ours. So it's a combination of two things. To pin it on one, I think is not true. But I think that we could always do better on keeping mud and things off of Bluff Road. We're required to document those things and send the DNR as well. So again, I'm not downplaying the concern. It's just rock with a combination of potential shaker grates, those type of things that maybe we could improve on.
I know those shaker
situation.
grates work well on these job sites, and
They do.
now, not just driving across them and then getting on the road, they gotta drive it back up, get it on them again.
We
Get this,
we would potentially look at having multiple ones is what we would do. They're 15, 20,000 each, on the roadway out. But again, if that's what keeps us in compliance, maybe that's what we have to do.
What about the High Street
I-
millings?
I know this morning,
What's that?
when I was pulling out of the driveway, I waited for this four-wheel drive truck, and it was pulling a dump trailer. He went by me, and he had mud all up on his running boards. I got behind him, right before you get to Happy-Go-Lucky Club. Guess what comes out underneath the trailer? Big old hunk of mud. You guys got to get a pump truck down there or do something. Like I said, if you can't take care of it, shut it down. It's ridiculous out there.
Okay,
That's all I
one
got
more.
to say.
Mr. Hennigan, you live on Brinker Lane, is that right?
Brinker Trail, yeah.
Brinker Trail, okay. And Josh, you live also Brinker Trail?
No, I live up the road away, 6455 Bluff Road, next to Happy-Go-Lucky.
Okay, all right, okay. When we go out there, just one vicinity of what you're talking about on driveway, so.
Yeah, I took a video, maybe I can show it to you. There's a clear trail from Happy-Go-Lucky Club all the way into the front gates of the city dump. Somebody, with it being a tractor, no. It may kick a little bit, but 99% of that's coming from that dump.
Okay, well, thank you for being here.
All right.
Yeah, and, just another thing,
Come back up to the microphone, please.
if the biggest concern, one of the major concerns we have is what is coming out of that dump onto the roads,
Okay,
onto our vehicles, into our houses. That's what our biggest concern is. And what are we bringing to our kids, family members? I mean, nobody else want that for any one of your families.
Okay.
So we're stuck with it, and we don't want it that way.
okay,
So,
very good.
thanks.
Thank you.
Report of department heads, delinquent real estate and personal property taxes as of December 31st, 2020.
Your packet includes the names of those who are delinquent. Mary's going to talk about this for us.
Well, this is just an annual report that we're required to give, so it does have the delinquent tax list as of, I believe it's January 17th. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. It's just something we're required by city code to go ahead and do every year. Our collection rate with Franklin County remains still about 97% collection, so that's really good. But
Looks like everybody waits a year.
not everybody.
Yeah, not everybody.
But it's about the same. The collection, the delinquent that we are showing is comparable to last year.
is the repercussions just a fine added to this? Is that right?
Yes, it's just, I mean, they collect for us, so then they tack on a penalty and interest.
So those who are a couple of years behind are getting penalties and interest added on every year.
As soon as January 1st hits, then a penalty and interest would be, penalty probably the first month, and then interest thereafter.
And then it takes how long for them to go on for a property sale, right? If they miss so many years, correct?
I think it's 3 years for real estate, and then is it 3 years? Yeah, 3 years for real estate, and then personal property, I don't know that gets stricken off the record, I believe, like after 7 years or something. But by that time, it might be $5 that's still outstanding. It's
Right.
very,
There's-
very small.
But there's some properties here that are 15, 16, 17 that are past that 3 years mark, so then are they just waiting to go on sale?
Some of those, I checked, I know there were some of them that went back to like 2014. And
Right.
I actually questioned Doug Trepman about that, why they were still showing up on that, if they were supposed to be sold after 3 years. He just sent me an email this afternoon, but I think basically his answer was that that was an error in the new programming system over at the collector's office, that those are really not delinquent.
Yeah, we've had some issues with their new software reports that they send us, and we know aren't right, so we have to send back.
Yeah,
So,
so the stuff that's on there that's more than 3 years old is on there due to some programming issue with their new software.